Okay, we're back from config. How's everyone doing?
I'm on the men's.
John, how are you feeling?
Still recovering, but feeling good to be back.
Nice. Yeah, it was very fun. Um, just a great conference. I mean, I don't know how to say it more than that. Like they do such an amazing job. Um, it's just so well organized, and the scale of it is like unbelievable. What did you think, John? Like from a just a general like experience wise going to this conference for the first time. What were your impressions outside of like the talks and stuff? Because we'll get into
Mhm.
that. Like conference itself, what did you think?
I mean, it was great. It's the first time I've been to any sort of creative conference on that scale, so it was pretty cool to see just like how big of a crowd of people that they bring and all the talents involved, and just I think just the scale is so big and bigger than anything I've been to in Canada. So it was pretty
Mhm.
great.
Yeah. We generally, like we were already talking, John, like we don't have anything in Toronto like that. Like we have RGD Design Thinkers, which is great, but it's not digital focused. And then we have Tech Week, which
Web
is
Summit,
not design
big one.
focused. And then we have Web Summit, but Toronto lost Web Summit. It's now in Vancouver. So like in terms of like an actual local conference, we don't have anything that's comparable to
True. Yeah.
config, which
Mm.
means there's an opportunity for
Someone.
an agency to maybe
Yeah.
put together a small conference that will grow over time.
Maybe config will do their international one here in Toronto sometime. Nudge,
Uh,
nudge. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
It's a cool. It would
yeah,
be a cool city to do that to host something like that. I can't imagine
yeah,
how complex it must be to put something like that on at a different venue than where they're at because there's this. It's just so huge.
yeah. 10,000 people. Like,
Yeah,
do we
Mhm.
even have a conference place that
space
would
for that.
hold that many?
Maybe like the
I'm sure.
Metro Convention
Yeah,
Center, but like,
sure. The entrance
yeah,
to see.
outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we spoke a little bit about how maybe it would be an AI overkill for the conference, and
it was.
it felt a little bit like that on the first day. Yeah. Some of it was interesting. I just think that it was so much. And then on the second day, it felt like you could explore a little bit more that was like outside of the AI focus. But generally,
Yeah,
and we probably should do like, we're going to probably have to follow us up with an AI, our thoughts on what we've been learning and what we learned there specifically about AI, because it was just such a huge focus. Um, Like the reason
yeah,
why I really think it's valuable is because two main reasons for me personally is like seeing what some of these people are thinking about the design industry, the future of the design industry is always, I mean, this is our second year, and both years I've been like, oh wow, this is kind of like a window into where the future of design is going. And then the other one is like, I just really like the more like art based practitioners and their talks because I just find them very like personally inspiring. And I feel like kind of hit on both those for me.
it's a good mix. I think like the whole AI conversation. We talked about just getting totally burned out from AI at the conference. Like it did get a bit exhausting. And then even in some of the talks, as soon as one of the presenters said, and this is not AI, or I don't plan on using like anything that wasn't about AI, the crowd would clap. Like I think
Yeah.
that people, including the audience, were just genuinely burned out. But I feel like in hindsight, I feel like Figma anticipated this because I'm thinking back to their keynote and they released all of these features, but the one feature that took a back seat was agents. Like the whole AI part of Figma, it's there, they mentioned it, but it was sort of like they mentioned it offside.
Hmm.
Agents are a thing. They're there for you to use. They're useful, but they didn't really lean too heavily into it. So it was really cool that they took a backseat to that versus what they did last year, where their product release was largely AI tools. So I don't know, John. Any thoughts on the product release?
I mean, very excited, especially as someone who's production is pretty much the whole thing for me. So yeah, I think a lot of designers are going to be super excited about really the new doors that are going to be opened by how integrated everything is, especially with motion. I think that's going to be the highlight that we see people start to really explore and see what extremes you can push it to within the tool.
Yeah, John hasn't worked. He hasn't done any work today. He's just been playing with Figma. We'll talk
Nice.
about that later, John.
That's fine.
Awesome. Well, should we get into it? Our favorite talks
Yeah.
from
Yeah, let's do it.
all
Who
right.
wants to go first?
Let's default to you since the person who asks is
All
always
right.
the default.
I have 3.
One. You have one.
I'll do. I
He'll
won't
do
go into
one.
any. I won't go into any detail. I won't go into too much detail, but I think like maybe one sentence about each that really stood out to me.
Oh my God. All right. You had to
it's
change it
too
up.
hard. It's too hard.
I mean, try it. Let's start.
You know,
Let's go with the one.
I'm just gonna ramble for a bit, very quick.
All right. Tie them all together. You got
I
this.
thought that that, and maybe there's some overlap here actually. So like if either of you have these on your list, and just
Yeah,
tell
it
me
might
if
be.
there's one we can summarize it all a little bit. I really liked Anna O's presentation about UX and robots. But she has works in, I guess, robotics for it's a product for seniors and old age homes. And it was basically the talk. What I took from the talk was just like it was so cool to see how design thinking was applied outside of what we do. So it sounded like she had like a product or web UX background, and then was getting into hardware space working with seniors. And so what I really liked about the talk was just seeing how she applied the sort of like design system thinking from product into real world use cases within the healthcare system. And there were just so many like cool little anecdotes from that I thought were really interesting. Really like that talk.
Nice.
Any, on any of your lists?
Yeah. I mean, Anna, I wasn't attending it with you, so I watched it when I got home when it was finally released.
Oh,
But
okay,
like
cool.
the one thing about Anna O's that definitely stuck with me, it's not on my list, because I figured you guys were gonna choose it. But like the one quote from hers was about like taste not coming from the design community, how it
Yeah,
comes from the people you're responsible for.
yeah,
And it's like, it's so indicative of the stuff that we've talked about in the past. Like, good
mm,
design survives its context. Good design is, it's not about designing the flashiest thing, it's about designing for the purpose, for the audience. So it was really cool to see someone in healthcare and AI and hardware come at this from a completely different user-centered area and say like design is for the people you are responsible for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that quote too.
So, but I mean, feel free to expand. I'm just joshing you. If
No,
you
that's
had
all.
other
That's all.
talks,
I mean, yeah, there were 2 other ones that I really liked. I really
let's hear
liked.
them. Let's hear them. We're only 9
I
minutes in. We
I
got
really
time.
liked Ella Rochelle Lawton, who was talking about street art as a way of working, and
Yeah.
just she's so interesting. Like started in the circus and community arts world, and it was it was like a community driven circus project for kids, performance project for kids, and then just talking about how uh, street art is a living design system, and that again, like I guess maybe now that I'm thinking about it, these 2 talks specifically were so related to design systems, maybe that's really why they stuck with me. But taking that concept of design system and applying it to the street and thinking of like the different mediums, so like concrete, spray paint, like all of these different pieces of the design system. I also thought that they had some fascinating research done, and I'd love to dig in deeper into that in how street art and murals affect communities, the positive
Mm.
impact it has on communities, and like real data around how communities have actually improved by having street art in their neighborhoods. That was cool. That was a really good one. And then my last one was the Waymo one, just because I thought it was like such an interesting design use case. How do you design for when you remove a driver and all of the communication associated with having a person in the car?
Yeah. Well, having a person without a driver in the car.
It was fascinating, super
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Did you have that one, John, or were you going to talk about that one?
No, I wasn't, but it was definitely high up on my list. I think just
Yeah,
it's such a unique use case for product design. I think that's why I find it so interesting. Like,
yeah,
especially their findings when he was talking about their initial tests with users, or I guess passengers in the car, and they just initially or instinctually felt safe right away. It's an environment you wouldn't think people would feel safe right out the gate, especially as like a new experience. So
yeah.
that was really interesting, and how that just transitioned their whole process.
And we learned about acoustic psychology. What did they call it?
Psychoacoustics.
Psychoacoustics.
Yeah,
So like
the
the fact
study
that they
of
use,
sound.
yeah, they use an E, the note E, different tones of E in the car throughout the experience because it's the note most associated with calmness. And like it does make such a huge difference when you go into those Waymos. Honestly, and I love it. I love it. If we had
Yeah.
Waymos here,
Waymo's
I just,
great.
it's such a great experience.
We'll
Yeah,
get them
that's pretty
soon.
sweet.
Yeah,
Do you
hopefully.
guys make sure to at them when they post on LinkedIn and ask them when they're coming to Toronto? Because I just spam them. That's my strategy.
Yeah.
That's a good use of
um,
AI.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'll go. I guess I'll go next. So now I'll dig up a couple more since you had three.
Yeah,
But
whatever,
my
whatever.
the top one I was going to choose was the was Jezebel DC's The Future's Low Tech Lessons from the Early 2000s.
Yeah, I didn't see
Um,
that one.
Same.
yeah, it was totally different than what I even expected. It was definitely more like philosophical, like product focused, but her whole thing was like, let's take a step back to the 2000s, when it wasn't that design was better because designers had better values. It was better because there was no business model that paid people to trap you in their app yet. So like ads weren't a thing, and eventually attention became the product. So you get like infinite scroll and like all of this other baggage that we talk about. And she also clarified that the lack of orientation in modern apps is also a way of keeping you in there, because when you're disorientated, it creates a dependency. So really interesting like UX
Yeah,
principles distilled from comparing 2000s tech to current tech. So she
that's
had a
cool.
few lessons. Like the first lesson was from Lego, which they actually test their instructional design for each Lego set. And as soon as it becomes too complicated to do without text, they actually redesign the whole kit.
Oh wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
it's like, think of now where we have tooltips and onboarding and like help centers for all of the apps. It's like they're not there to be simple. They're just, everything's there to keep you in the app.
That's our second design related, our Lego related design
Oh
anecdote.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I won't go through all of her points, but the other one that stuck out to me was serving the user, and she used Animal Crossing as a reference.
Oh, cool.
And it was just, all of this was initially confusing, but then she'd get to the point and you're like, wow, that's really fascinating, because Animal Crossing, it's a time bound game. It connects to your clock on your Switch. So if you're playing at 7 a.m., it's 7 a.m. in the game. If you're playing at 10 p.m.,
Mm,
it's 10 p.m. in the game. Nothing happens at night in the game most of the time. So there's a reason to shut the game off. There's no reason to keep you captive. And her point was that Nintendo's already made their money off of you. You bought the game, you can move on. You don't have to be stuck in
mhm.
this world. So interesting ways of like not creating these dependencies.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds like a pretty
so yeah,
relevant talk.
I know, yeah, it was really great. And then I thought that Chelsea's I've only really got two, but Chelsea Larson from Anthropic,
Yeah, that's
um,
good too.
where she talked about language and design, and she quoted someone else at Anthropic. I'm blanking on the name, Amy something, but this idea that language is design
Yeah.
is great, and it comes back to the idea that content is design. Like we're at this age where the language is fundamental to how you experience this, and it's getting more and more important as we build out AI as well, because that's how people are communicating with these things. It's like you're writing prompts. It's not just like the clicks and the intuitive stuff anymore. It's how are you explaining things to users in language? How are you writing this? What are the actual responses? Um, and then how do you write to AI as well? Um,
Hmm.
Her one example of when you had to switch between ChatGPT and Claude, like when you wanted to migrate,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you wrote the prompt as like a directive, it interpreted it as you trying to jailbreak the system, and it wouldn't give you enough data to import into your Claude because it had the safety mechanisms on.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I think like I don't know, to try to tie those together,
Mhm.
I'm gonna try. Um Language, design, like all of this stuff, it encodes values. And it's really obvious with Chelsea's point when she was talking about streets and cars, how like everyone associates AI with the industrial revolution, but she took a step back and said, no, it's cars. We
Mhm.
designed cars and then we designed the environment for cars and not humans. And that's what we lost along the way. So we encoded the value of cars into our environment through design. So it's up to us, like where we go from here, right? That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. I enjoyed that one. Um,
Yeah.
it's not what I expected. Um,
No.
but it was interesting in terms of like the language that Claude uses. You never really think about. I mean, I feel like content as design. I feel like is often undervalued and taken for granted. You have
Mhm.
these interactions, and you don't ever think that like someone consciously designed that in a way that it's usable
Yeah,
or
or
optimal.
emotional or
Yeah,
personal or
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's
And
a lot
John,
there.
Yeah. I found the point that she made about the comparison that you brought up, where a lot of people were kind of defaulting to comparing to the Industrial Revolution, where really it's quite different as a model of what's going on with this new technology. I thought that was really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that concept applies to our tools as well as moving forward. Like we're starting to cover a lot of the like obvious ways in which AI is carving out its own uses within every tool at this point. But it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see the more specific uses of it, I think, as the more obvious ones get weeded out.
mm,
We shall see. What about you, John? What was your favorites?
Yeah, most of the ones you mentioned were really great. I missed the low tech one. That seems like it was pretty cool. I think I'm gonna have to
yeah,
watch the recording of that one. Same with the street art one. Those were two that I didn't get to. But one of the ones that you guys didn't mention that it really stuck with me, maybe just because I'm a data viz nerd and they reference a lot of data visualization in the talk, was, and I forget his name, so bad with names, but it was a designer from Stripe, and his talk was about density in design.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
that
Matthew
one,
Strawn or something. Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, sorry, Matthew. But yeah, his design talk was really great. I really liked his points about like thinking about density and design on those different planes within design, like whether that's upfront and it's static density, whether that it's within motion or time based elements with your designs. Um, and then even informationally, like he just went over a lot of use cases where you should be looking at density as how useful something is. So like he was kind of explaining it the way the more simple but feature rich interfaces, the more dense it is because it's more useful. I thought that was really interesting. And then same sort of idea with the time based elements as well. Just like leveraging motion and time in a useful way that means something to the user, and in that way measuring density in design. I thought that was pretty interesting. He referenced I think it was Tufte's chart of, it was like subway routes and times. He was kind of explaining this ratio to look for in your interfaces and in design work, and this was his like example of the golden standard of this ratio. I think he called it the ink to paper ratio, because that's where it comes from. And he's basically explaining how the ratio initially means for how much ink there is on the paper, there should be that much meaning or something like that, or usefulness within what it's trying to communicate. So the more ink, and less meaning is bad ratio. The less ink, more meaning is good ratio. So he was showing this chart that was like the perfect ratios. But anyway, pulling that into the
Interesting.
design and web world, I think that was pretty interesting. And just like evaluating interfaces, right? Like it really all boils down to like, you look at interface and how much fluff is there, right? Everything should be serving a purpose within the work. And I just found it a very fascinating visual and talk regarding that kind of evaluation within design. So that was really cool. And there was also
That
just
was a good one.
yeah, there's an underlying, he kind of joked about it in the end of the talk, but there's this like underlying theme of just, outside of the talk about density, it was really like asking the right questions, right? Like, and how you approach questions, especially from clients. Like he kind of started the talk with this joke that I missed the very beginning, so I don't remember who this persona was in the talk, but it was basically someone who came to him with this request, this feature request for Stripe, and they wanted the dashboard to look like the like this investing dashboard, but instead of a knee jerk reaction and like kind of dismissing it, he was kind of talking about how you should think about the question before dismissing it, like, right, whether, even if it might seem like redundant or a stupid question or something. He had this good quote, which I'm probably going to butcher, but it went something like, prove 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 the question prove that the question is a bad idea before dismissing it or something like that. I don't know, but
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
it was something along those lines. Basically, just like not being so quick to react to feedback that might seem bad from the start, because that was what prompted him to go down this route of research. And he ended up discovering things that were kind of an indirect result of exploring this question rather than just shutting it down because it wasn't at face value maybe a good idea. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It was kind of his like underlying theme of his talk as well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's not the quote I thought you were gonna pull. I have a note here because remember he was like, "Hey, there's a secret second talk here."
Yeah.
Um, it was that he's like, "Why are we still talking about this if the answers already exist?" His point was, "I don't think we have a craft problem. I think we have a problem of talking about craft too much.
Yeah, that was a good one
Like,
as well.
we already have the answers to this stuff, but we're so fixated on the wrong things."
Mm.
Yeah, that was a good talk.
Yeah,
That's
that
another
sounds like
one
a
worth
good
going
one.
back listening to.
I didn't even see it. It's just there's so much going on that like that was one that I don't even remember seeing on my schedule or on
Yeah.
the main
I think the
schedule.
my buddy from Graphite was like, "You need to see this guy." So that's why I added it to my list. No idea what I was
Cool.
getting into.
I think it was the first day. I think. Can't remember. But
It was all a blur.
it was within
Yeah.
the 48 hours.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
great
Well,
trip.
let's end
Going
with a
back.
rating out of 10 because we guessed a 7 out of 10. Well, I guessed a 7 out of 10. I think you said 6 out of 10.
I said 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you at post conference?
It's tough. I've wrestled deeply with this.
John,
I put it
you
at a
go
9.
first. You put it a 9. Okay,
I'd
that
say
was
9.
actually what I was going to say too. I say a 9
Yeah.
out of 10.
Yeah.
John, where are you at?
I don't think I did the pre-trip rating, but if I had to, I think I was sort of expecting it to be probably around like a 6.5, 7. Mostly because I was expecting way more AI stuff, like needless AI stuff, which wasn't the case, thankfully. And then I think afterwards, I really enjoyed the conference a lot. I might have a little bit of a bias because first time there, so everything is a little starry eyed, but I would definitely say like 9.5
Nice.
out of 10. Yeah.
There you go,
Nice.
Figma. Nailed it. Anyone from Figma is listening.
All right, stuck it. That's a 9, 9, and a 9.5.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very
It
good.
was, yeah. The
Yeah,
only
I
reason
mean,
it's not a 10 is because I do genuinely think there was too much AI. And there were some genuinely bad talks. We won't get into those, but that's for a different conversation. The secret one for our subscribers.
The Patreon
Patreon.
version.
We don't
Yeah.
have one, by the way. Okay,
All right, guys.
cool.
Good stuff.
Okay, see you guys. Bye.
Take it easy.
See
Bye.
ya.
Wait.